Story. The other time that we didn't have anything to eat, we didn't even have any eggs in the refrigerator. We didn't have anything. And so I remembered what our very close friends in Bible college did when they went out to start a church. They didn't have any place to live either, and somebody had fixed up an old school bus to be a living place.
Oh.
They had made they'd taken the seats out, and they had made a little bedroom in the back and, a little dining table and stuff in it. So it was a living house. So they were poor too, and so they lived in the bus because they were starting a church. They didn't have a church, and they were starting one. So anyway, they were without food one day, and so they said, let's go ahead and set the table, and let's sit up at the table and let's thank the Lord for the food as though we had food on the table. So they did that, and they had a little girl, same age as Lavana. And so anyway, when they finished praying, they got a knock on their school bus door.
Oh, wow.
And they went to the door, and there's a whole bag of groceries there.
My.
And so they rejoiced in the Lord.
They didn't know who gave them?
And it had, breakfast food and stuff in it. And so they thanked the Lord, they had already prayed and thanked the Lord for the food before they even had any.
Wow.
And so I remembered that day, and I said, honey, let's go ahead and do what Paul and Juanita did. They set the table. I said, let's go ahead and set the table and put a place for Jesus, and put a chair there for him and everything. And let's go ahead and sit down and thank the Lord for the food, even though we don't have any food.
Oh.
And so,
wow.
he said, okay. So that's what we did. We set a place for Jesus, and we put the chair up, and we had plates and knives and forks and everything. And we put Ivana's high chair up to the table and everything. And we sat down, and we thanked the Lord for the food. And the same thing happened to us, almost. We got a knock at the door. When we went to the door, it was the very poorest lady in town.
Oh.
She was a Russian lady. She lived out on the edge of town. She lived in a train boxcar that had been made into a living thing.
Oh my gosh.
And she had put these big metal signs they used to have, the big Coca-Cola signs they were huge.
Like that one.
They were the size of, like 20 feet wide and, 10 feet tall or whatever. And they had put those signs, Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola and whatever signs, together and made a lean-to onto that train boxcar to make a little kitchen. And so that's where her kitchen was, and the kitchen just had dirt floor because
Oh wow.
Because it was just the ground that was on.
Oh my god.
So anyway, but what she had was chickens.
Oh my.
So she had brought us 2 fat hens, but they were still alive.
Oh.
Their legs were tied, And so she said, well, I just thought you kids might be able to use some chicken. And so we said, well, thank you. That's very considerate. And so we asked her if she wanted to sit down. She said, no, I have to go. Because she was a cook at a restaurant. Restaurant there. I mean, it was a cafe. But anyway, so after she left, Don had to kill the chickens, and I had to defeather them, and everything, and cut them up. And they were hens, so they were not fryers, so we couldn't just have fried chicken. We had to cook them in a pressure cooker.
Oh, really?
Because they're tough when they get older. Chickens are.
Oh, okay.
The meat is tough. You can't fry it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so it, it took like 45 minutes, I think, in the pressure cooker to cook them.
How long did it take to defeather and to kill it and everything?
Oh, it took Oh, you finished? Yeah, you finished. You finished.
Yay!
Yep, you finished.
Yay, Bria!
Does she burp? I don't think she has to burp, does she?
Not on you,
Did
Grandma.
she burp yesterday?
Oh, why?
Here we go.
I don't know if she has to burp or not. Does she?
She usually burps a little, but
I don't want her to burp all over Grandma.
Grandma.
Very sweetie.
So cute,
thank
little
you.
Brielle. You love Grandma? Oh, yeah, you do. She's so cute. So then what happened? So you guys got it all?
So, yeah, so, you know, it took like, I don't know, it took at least an hour for Don to kill them, and then me to, you know, because you gotta get boiling water and our little lean-to apartment, or I mean, lean-to one-room parsonage that was on the back of the church only had cold water. It didn't have hot water. So we had to, you know, heat the water, had to dip them in very hot water, and then,
Oh my gosh.
and then defeather them
Oh.
and everything, and then cut them up, and then cook them for the, you
If
know,
you gave someone a live chicken now, they wouldn't know what to do with them. Literally.
yeah. Well, in the springtime, when they had brand, because they always bought hundreds of baby chicks
Uh-huh.
to raise, because they also sold them when they got bigger for fryers, you know. They sold them to the grocery stores and stuff. And so when they had fryers, like they brought us 23 fryers in the spring,
Uh-huh.
but we had to kill them,
Oh my gosh.
you know, and prepare them and put them in our city locker, you know, where we had
The freezer, city
the
freezer.
freezer.
Tell us about the freezer again.
yeah, the freezer was, you know, it was because back then the refrigerators were all small, and we only had that little box up in the corner that you put ice cube trays in. I think it would hold 3 or 4 ice cube trays. And so we couldn't freeze anything in our refrigerator. And so the city had the town freezer, which was a place that just had a whole bunch of freezer bins, and they were big. Like, they held however much meat anybody could want to put in there.
Wow.
And because people would, you know, butcher a beef or a pork or deer or whatever they hunted, and chickens and everything. So, and everybody had their own key to get into the building, and then the same key would open their locker
The freezer
door.
locker.
And so there was room in that locker for, you know, everything. And
Like
like
a
I
post
said,
office. Like a post office of freezers. It's amazing.
not the post office.
No, it's like a post office for freezers.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, so at one time, yeah, we had deer meat in there because somebody tithed their deer that they hunted, and we had
Wow. How cool.
you know, a beef. We had beef in there. Somebody had tithed when they butchered their beef. And we had all of those 23 chickens prior
Man,
to.
you guys were stocked.
What?
You guys were stocked.
So, yeah, it was an interesting experience. It was, you know, we just saw how God, you know, takes care of our needs in different ways, you know, just
Wow.
totally interesting, and good to, you know, experiences good to live through.
Wow.
And,
Look at how happy that baby
and
is with you.
and of course, since the offerings did not always come in, our salary, pastoral salary, was $100 a month. But since it didn't always come in, my husband did all kind of things. The station across the street would let him wash cars and get the money for washing. I mean, not just cars, but trucks or anything, any automotive thing that needed to be washed.
Wow.
My husband would do it, and they would. The owner would.
Do you want one of
let
those,
him.
Riel? There you go.
Would let him have the, the money for it, and he plowed for people.
Really?
If they needed their wheat fields plowed, he would go plow. He washed windows for a wealthy lady that needed her windows washed.
Wow.
He did anything that was available to help us, he did it. And so it was all really, it was a good experience for us because we knew we were called to the mission field, but our missions had a thing that you could not go to the mission field without first being, a pastor for a year.
In America.
In America.
Wow.
Because there are pastoral experiences that you need to have.
Make sure you're going to make it on the mission field.
Yes. Because they had some failures. Woo. Letting people go saying they were called to a mission field without pastoring first. And they got all confused with whatever, and on a foreign field especially, and then they all wanted to come home, and that was a big, waste of money to set somebody up to live in another country, pay for their place to live and whatever they needed.
Look at that.
Furniture.
Look at that. He's just looking at you.
So sweet. I love you. You're so beautiful.
My goodness.
I don't know what I'm saying now. Anyway,
Life as a pastor. Back in what year was that? What years? What time era?
That was 100
years ago.
I think this is age related. 1953, we graduated from Bible college.
Wow.
And
you
went to Oneida, South Dakota.
Wow.
That was our little country church.
Oh my goodness. 100 people in the town.
What?
100 people in the town. How many churches?
Six churches in town. Yeah, but we all got together because we all went to each other's Christmas programs.
Oh.
Our church was running over for our Christmas program.
Wow.
And yeah, God blessed us. And the Lord, the Lord heard our prayers because He didn't send the revival we prayed for while we were there, but after we left, not the next pastor, but the next pastor that came, they prayed also, and the Lord sent revival to the town, and the town bar got closed.
Wow.
And somebody wrote us and told us about it because they knew that we had been praying, for revival in that little town.
Oh my goodness.
So that was neat.
And one of their
And also, since our living quarters was just a one-room lean-to built onto the back of the church.
What is a lean-to? What's a lean-to?
A lean-to is just like it's up this way and, it's like a lean-to is like a covered deck. It's not really, it's just one big long room. It doesn't have any walls in it. And so you just fix it up inside in that one long room, And so that one long room had a kitchen on one side.
Oh my.
And on the living part on the other side. The kitchen side had a sink with cold water. We did not have hot water.
Oh my gosh.
And in the wintertime, I had to remember to we had to turn the cold water off at night so that it would not freeze and break the pipes because it got so cold in Oneida. One night it got down to 25 below zero.
Oh my gosh.
It got cold.
How did you stay warm? Okay, keep going, sorry.
There was a gas heater in the middle of that, one of those bottle gas, except it was a bigger tank of gas down in the ground outside the house. but it was a little heater stove in the middle of that
Nice.
one room. And then, like I said, in a kitchen with cold water and stove. So, oh yeah, what I was saying is in the winter, I had to remember to put water in the tea kettle in the morning, heat up the water, and under the sink, pour the hot water over the water pipe to make sure if there was any ice and any that had formed in there that it would melt, you know, before, so that when we turned the water on, it wouldn't, you know, the pipe wouldn't break.
Did you put towels underneath it or something to keep it from...
What?
Did you ever put towels underneath the pipes to just soak up the water you pour on it, or what'd you do?
No, we didn't. And we forgot when we went. We actually went back to Iowa for Christmas for 7 days, and we got so excited about making the trip back home and being with loved ones and everything that we forgot all about the water. And when we got home, when we got back to Oneida, it wasn't too terribly cold, but the pipes had frozen with ice in them.
So what happened?
So when we turned the water on, the pipe broke,
Oh, no.
and we had a flood. It just came shooting out all over the floor so fast. And finally, Don was able to, you know, get it closed and everything. So then we had to wait and get our water, the tube that was broken.
So could you have poured the hot water on it before and it wouldn't have broken?
Yes, we could.
Oh, we just forgot.
We forgot, yes.
Oh, no.
And so
Oh,
anyway,
so sad.
and on the other end of the one room was this, you know, the hide-a-bed sofa. It was a sofa during the daytime, but we would take the pillows off, you know, and unfold it, and that was our bed.
That was your bed?
Yeah.
You guys had a hide-a-bed?
Yeah,
my gosh.
because we only lived in one room, and then we had our Ivana's crib.
Oh.
And because she was only 8 months old, like I said, when we first went there. She actually learned to walk while we were there. And so, and we had an outhouse, of course. And it was you know, it was like 50 steps away from the back door of the house.
Wow.
So that was horrible in the winter.
Oh, yeah. An outhouse. What was it like? Did it flush, or did it just, like, it's just a hole in the ground, or what?
It was an outhouse, and an outhouse is a thing that has, you know...
Like a porta potty, or what was it?
No, it wasn't a porta potty, but, you know, an outhouse has a bench that's the toilet seat.
Uh-huh.
And it has either one hole or two holes.
Okay.
Because that's the way they made them back then. Sometimes the outhouse only had one hole, but sometimes it had two holes.
Why
So
was
the other hole for?
what was the purpose of two holes?
they were both toilets.
Just the
They
same.
were both, yeah.
Like,
And
so
you
two
just
people
built,
go at the
and you
same
just
time?
had a big, just had a deep thing under where all the waste went down there.
Could that get pumped out?
What?
Could that get pumped out, or was that
Oh
just
no!
a hole in
When
the ground?
it got full, you just had to cover it with dirt and dig another
So
hole.
it's just a hole in the ground.
Yeah, it was just a hole in the ground,
just
and the
moved the
house was on
outhouse?
top of it.
So did it smell bad all the time?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
And you had to buy lime. I think it was lime powder, and you had to
Pour it over.
every so often, like once a week, we'd pour lime because
With that
because
deodorizer?
across the alley from the church was a mechanic shop for farm equipment, because they were all wheat farmers, you know, up
Wow.
there. And so the men from all of their customers and the men that in the shop, and they all used our outhouse.
Your outhouse?
Yes. And
Were they supposed to? They weren't supposed to, were they?
no, they should have had their own outhouse.
Oh my gosh.
Because one of the elders of the church, an older man, and he wasn't really anyway, they accused me of filling the outhouse, the hole, with chicken feathers.
Oh,
That when I had done
your
chickens
outhouse.
and everything, that I had filled the hole with chicken feathers. But I had not. I was not guilty of that. But anyway, I got accused. So the elder told Don, I think you should, before you leave, you should dig a new hole for the outhouse.
Gosh.
And he did. And it was already in October, and it was already cold, and the ground was already hard.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it was hard work for my husband to dig a new hole because he made it 10 feet deep, you know.
Oh,
it was
my.
a deep hole.
So they had to move the whole outhouse over the new hole.
Yeah, they had to. And so Don said, if he had it to do again, he would say, when the man came to tell him he needed to dig a new hole, he would say, okay, when can you come? And
Seriously,
we'll do it.
that's what I was thinking. Do it together.
Yeah, do it together. But see, we
Your
were
dad
young.
was so sweet.
I was
and
21
your husband,
and he
yeah.
was 24. So
Oh my
we just did everything, and you know, and
Because it was a false
it
accusation
didn't hurt us
anyways.
that bad. So
Yeah, you're basically doing a charitable thing, but then that got, since there's no proof.
Were there no
yeah,
such
it
thing?
just was. It wasn't nice to be accused of something that I didn't do.
Were there no such thing as toilets back then?
Yeah, there were. The other houses in the town had bathrooms. Oh, that's another thing we're going to say. That we drew a picture of the thing that was now just a one-room thing. An addition onto it
You drew a
to
picture?
make a normal house in the back. You know?
yeah?
And it would have bedrooms, and it would have an inside bath and everything.
Drew it up.
And when we left,
Uh-huh.
we left that drawing because there was a little room by the platform where the pulpit was. There was a little door from our one room into that little one room, and Don used that room as a study, pastor study. And then there was a door from that room up onto the stage of the church, so we could actually go from our little abode back there into the church. We didn't have to go around.
Did you
We
guys
didn't have to
include a
go up.
toilet in that drawing?
What?
Did you include an interior toilet in that?
She
drawing?
did. Did you include a toilet, a bathroom, she said, in your drawing? Did you include a bathroom in your drawing?
In the house, a bathroom inside the house, in the drawing.
Yes, yes, we did.
Yes.
Yes, and that was what I was going to say. And so, like, I don't know which pastor it was after us, because there were, I don't know, 3 or 4 pastors that came to pastor the church after we left, after we went to Cuba. But one of them wrote us a letter, and then when we came home on furlough, we got to visit the church, and we got to see, because they told us, we found your drawing, and the church actually now has a nice parsonage built onto the back with bedrooms and bathroom, inside bathroom and everything.
With your drawing?
What?
Was it the drawing? Did they follow the drawing you guys used, or just
Well,
did their
they
own
didn't
thing?
use it completely. They said, we found your drawing. They said,
gave them
it's
an
not
idea.
exactly like you drew, but we did build on, you know, so the parsonage does
So it gave
now
them,
have a bathroom.
it gave them the idea to make it a parsonage.
Yeah.
Wow.
The parsonage is still there.
I don't know what has happened to it now, because it's been so many years.
Yeah.
So,
Was it? What state was it in?
Oneida, South Dakota?
Oneida.
Oneida.
Oneida is 15 miles, I think, or 30. I don't remember now.
From
no,
where?
yeah, it's 30, because Blunt is 15 miles. Blunt is a little tiny town, a wide spot in the road between Oneida and
What's that
Pierre.
mean? What's a wide spot in the road mean?
Haven't you heard that expression?
No.
When a town is really small, they just call it a wide spot in the road. my grandma and grandpa's sponsor used to live in a little town called High Point, Iowa. And it was a wide spot in the road too, because all it had was a couple of filling stations, a couple of gas stations. And each gas station had shelves inside, so it had a few groceries and a few, you know, candy and a few implements and things like that. They were like general stores, but they were...
Yeah.
Disneyland used to have a replica of one of those old stores, you know, and in that store they had a replica of the telephone on the wall that were party lines. Mm-hmm. Cause see, when we first had telephones, we had a.
Oh, she's going to.
We had an operator.
You've been so good, Brielle.
Good.
You had an operator?
Yeah, so, because when you would pick up the thing and leave it in your ear, and then the lady would say, operator, and then you would give her a number. You would say, 60405 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so, she would say, number, please. Number, please. And then she would do the thing, and then you just wait. And if the people that you were calling... We're also on they're called party lines, because they had different, sometimes there were as many as 4 parties on one telephone line.
Oh, interesting.
And each party had a different ring. Oh. So if you had one ring, you were one party. If you had 2 rings, you were one of the other parties. Like that, you know. So when your phone would ring, you would wait to hear if it's just 1 ring or if it's 3 rings, you would wait to hear.
Oh my gosh.
How many rings, so you'd know if it's for you.
Oh my gosh. So
but the people could do what you call rubbering. Rubbering was when you picked up when it actually, the other party was talking about you wanted to get in on the gossip. So you listened to what they were saying.
Oh my gosh.
And sometimes, and in the Disney one, they would have it like somebody was on there and they'd say, Susie, you're rubbering. I hear you breathing. You got problems with your cough or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Talk to somebody, one of the other parties on the line.
Get off the phone, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But
yeah, sometimes they said, hang up.
Man, they had to fix that problem, didn't they? They
sure
did. Now the government's the only person who can rubber.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
absolutely fabulous.
I'm
Grandma.
tired of talking.
You're amazing. Oh, I love it. We'll say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
This has been story time with Grandma Margaret Smith, missionary to Cuba, Spain, and Mexico for how many years, Grandma?
38.
38 years. 6 years in Cuba, right?
What?
6 years in Cuba or Mexico?
6 years in Cuba.
6 years in Cuba. 8 years in Mexico?
9.
9 years in Mexico. And how long in
23 in Spain?
23. So she's been around the world and back. So I just thought, I want to get my grandma on camera because she is so amazing. And her mind is so sharp, and she's almost 90 years old. When's your birthday, Grandma? July 13th?
July 13th.
Next year. And that's when you're 90, right?
I will be 90.
She's going to Alaska on an Alaskan cruise for her birthday, God willing, that they don't have all this crazy vaccination stuff. Because she ain't getting no vaccine.
No.
Are you, Grandma?
No,
she already got the COVID.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. You already got COVID and you got over it. You're not about to get no vaccine.
I'm immune now.
That's right.
And I'm immune because God did a miracle and saved me from the horrible medications.
Remdesivir that tried to take her out. She got all the pneumonia and all that kind of stuff, and just God saved her. So praise the Lord, you're back and you're telling us stories. Love you. Bye.